Welcome everyone to the Business Resilience panel at the Women in Product Conference in 2020. Definitely a timely topic for everyone. Been a very challenging year, I think, for everyone. So I'm Danielle Crop, and I'm going to be your moderator today. I'm the Chief Data Officer at American Express, and I have the honor to have these three amazing product leaders here with me today to discuss this topic. And we have Grace, who's the Senior Director of Product Management of Okta, where she currently leads devices and security products. Prior to Okta, Grace has 20 years of product leadership and strategy experience, including stints at GoDaddy, Gaia Interactive, Microsoft, and McKinsey. Grace has previously founded an educational technology company based on neurosciences, which was supported by the National Science Foundation and the Department of Education. Welcome, Grace. We also have Vicky. Vicky is the General Manager and Director of Product Engineering at Alexa Shopping at Amazon. Vicky has extensive global experience in growth and management of online products from high-growth startups to large-scale public entities. And lastly, we have Amy, who's the SVP of Design and Creation Products at Autodesk. Amy manages product strategy and execution for Autodesk's 3D design and creative portfolio. Amy inspires innovative strategy while driving large-scale, agile software development around the globe and combines her roots as a startup founder with deep product management knowledge and large-scale product execution expertise to build high-performing teams focused on delivering value to their customers. Welcome, ladies. So glad to have this conversation with you today. So I'm going to kick it off with a basic question around resilience here, and we'll start off with Amy for this question. So during these times of uncertainty, having a resilient business is crucial, yet business can be only as resilient as its people. Resilient individuals have a tendency to have common characteristics. Some of those are calm confidence, positive attitude, a willingness to ask for help, empathy, persistence, and determination. How do you foster these characteristics in your teams? And how do you think fostering that culture transfers to your products and business outcomes?
Thank you. So first, I'll reflect on when COVID first started. It became even more important for the leadership to be good role models and to role model those behaviors that you were thinking of. I think calm was very important. Empathy was very important. The degree of uncertainty was very high for everyone. And so it was important that we first thought about taking care of our employees. Then we started thinking, okay, they're good. What do we do for our customers now? What kind of stress are they under? And then we started looking at our partners, in particular our channel partners. And then we had to be flexible because things were happening so fast. We had to be willing to make and remake decisions very quickly and be very transparent about that.
Great. And Grace, would you like to take that same question?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would agree with Amy in so many respects. I think it starts off with first role modeling the behavior that we want to see in the teams that we lead. Our company has focused a lot on being super transparent, and just with Todd, our CEO, being in front of the company every week, just being extremely transparent about what's happening from a customer perspective, from a employee perspective. Here's what we're doing for employees. Here's how we're helping, and just being super flexible about accommodating individual employees' needs. I think that's super important.
Fantastic. Okay, and lastly, Vicky.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said. It's definitely a very challenging time, and it's challenging for everyone, and everyone experiences it in a different way and to a different degree. But the bottom line is that nobody's immune to stress. So it is a time for us to listen more, help more, understand more, and then also open up and show our own experiences and vulnerabilities. To answer the second question about how this translates to our culture as a company and the products that we build, at Amazon, our mission overall is to be the Earth's most customer-centric company. So having the customer at the core of every decision that we make and every product that we build, it has been what we do. So to give you a concrete example, when this time started, Amazon teamed up with several organizations, schools, hospitals, to donate, for example, devices to those that were most in need.
Great. Okay, so let's pivot a little bit here to talk about the products and the customers that you guys all referenced in your answer. So you guys each provide products to quite different markets and customers. But what are the factors that impact your business overall, and how does that come out in your products? So Grace, do you want to take that one first?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. So first off, I will start with explaining what Okta does. So Okta is the identity company that stands for trust. And our vision as a company is to enable any organization to use any technology. And we do that by connecting everything. We're basically an enterprise-grade identity management service that sits in the cloud. And so to your question of what factors impact our business overall, I think they are very much in line with the need for businesses to achieve productivity, security, efficiency, as well as a smooth user experience. And what we're seeing today specifically, especially in the post-COVID world, is that, identity is playing an increasingly mission-critical role in the businesses that we serve, both for employees as well as customers. If you think about it, the digital transformation that happens with the explosion in the number of apps, the proliferation of devices, and the types of user roles that need access to these resources in an organization, those have just become increasingly complex over time. And that makes the challenge of providing secure, seamless access to these resources super challenging. So as an example of some of our customers, Albertsons, one of the largest grocery retailers in the nation, they're using our customer identity products to support loyalty, rewards, and e-commerce strategies. And so Okta serves as the first step in that online interaction between Albertsons and the customers. We power user registration as well as authentication for Albertsons customers. As well with MLB, we power MLB.com and MLB's mobile app, and we enable customers to interact with the digital properties that they buy. Well, fans buy tickets and have seamless access to that. And with the pandemic, we've seen a huge acceleration for the need of these things, not just from the customer identity perspective, but also for sort of the workforce or employee perspective. So as an example, a university that we serve, Seton Hall, with 10,000 students, they had to move everything to virtual within the course of 3 days. And Okta helped with that transition by enabling students and faculty to access most of their services online within that time. At the same time, with FedEx, to keep their mission-critical essential businesses up and running, they also had to provide or go remote with 400,000 remote employees. And we had to ensure that those employees had secure and quick and secure access to their apps within a very short period of time, if it was 36 hours. So those factors connect very tightly to the products that we have. And I think the pandemic has just accelerated or enforced the need for our solutions to be that much more smooth and seamless in this time.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. So Vicky, as a senior product leader at Amazon, what are your primary concerns when you think about the products you are developing?
Customer trust and privacy is paramount for us. Since the beginning of Echo devices and Alexa, we have been building layers of privacy protection for our customers, from controls from the hardware, like the microphone and the camera controls, to actually being able to listen and manage your voice recordings. And while we are always working on creating those controls and having customers feel in control and being able to customize based on their needs, we're also spending a lot of time thinking about privacy as we're building products and how we can educate our customers so they always feel that their privacy is protected no matter what. The other thing that is really important, making Alexa equally performant for everyone. Especially during this pandemic, we realized how much Alexa can change people's lives, which is true for everybody, and especially for people with accessibility needs and the aging population, for whom doing day-to-day tasks that we do is maybe not be as simple, like going to the grocery shop and doing your grocery shopping. So as we are building products, we do aspire for Alexa to be good. And we do define good as being equally valuable and serving equally all our customers, regardless their individual characteristics, their background, or their abilities.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think two great examples between Grace and Vicky of how you see your customers and how you serve them during difficult times. Great. So, Amy, tech always seems to have a rosy view of opportunity. Do you think much about what could happen in this downturn and the downturn going forward here?
So I thought about this question, and I was at my startup when the dot-com bubble burst many years ago, and so I think when you go through something like that, you don't take for granted any particular high point. But however, you kind of have to be prepared for potential obstacles, but don't be demotivated by them. I think this thing about resilience, and all the companies I've been talking to, whether it's our customers or some of the software products we use internally, are kind of motivated to solve problems. And we've just been thrown a whole bunch of new problems. And that's where I think product managers can really get in and look at maybe an undervalued aspect of their product. And maybe all of a sudden now that's far more valuable. We had this happen with a lot of our cloud collaboration capability. Customers were adopting it, but fairly slowly. But as soon as work from home happened, there was this explosion of adoption. So while some parts of the business may be slowing down a little bit, there are other parts that are now more important than ever before.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Okay, so Vicky, we all know COVID-19 pandemic directly impacted Amazon's level of business. Are there product changes that you made, that the company made in the past few years that you think put you guys in a more positive position to weather COVID-19?
It's definitely a challenging time. It is not business as usual for anyone. During this time, we had to make quite a lot of adjustments on our core foundational services, from logistics, transportation, supply chain, to name a few, to make sure that we're prioritizing stocking up on products that are essential for our customers, like household supplies and medical products. We also saw some changes in the ways that people are using our product. We see them relying a lot on shopping, online shopping. We saw a lot of people sharing their shopping lists with others, and that connects to what I was talking about earlier, people with accessibility needs and the elderly population that they need more help. So we did change some of the ways that you can share your shopping list, and we make it so much more easier. We also saw people opting more towards home delivery versus store pickup. So not only we had to create more slots for pickup, we also had to make changes on the product to make it easier for customers to select the right slot. In terms of, and those were some of the changes that we made most recently with everything that happened and how we adapted. In terms of more longer term planning, at Amazon, we have this process that we call working backwards from the customer. So we have a strong vision. As we are writing those documents, we build conviction about what we want to do. And then we'll go step by step in a nimble way. And we're very inquisitive and very agile in the way that we're approaching it. And I think that that is part of our culture that is so fundamental and helps us be so agile very fast when things change, and then when we need to make adjustments so we can serve our customers better.
Yeah. So you feel like it wasn't necessarily the product, or platform, it was more the culture of Amazon that helped you guys adjust?
Absolutely.
Great. Okay. So Grace, has the pandemic, Black Lives Matter, or the election situation impacted your product plans and or strategic product direction?
The pandemic for sure has affected. In fact, one thing it has done is it has certainly accelerated the changes that we're already seeing when companies shift to a more digital customer experience. So if anything, the pandemic accelerated that trend. From the customer identity side as well as the workforce side, because we're also seeing a lot more the big shift to remote work, right? So from the customer identity side, we're seeing a global shift in virtual events, shopping, banking, connections. So that makes it so much more important to offer a seamless customer experience than ever before. And that's a side of the business that we're definitely investing in and expediting, accelerating investment in. And identity was already important for ensuring customers' productivity and security, but with remote access, we have also had to increase. There's a much more bigger focus on reliability. So one of the things that we've done, our reliability has always been one of our strengths, and in response to this, we have now announced that we offer 99.99% uptime for all customers in every region of the world at no additional cost. So that's one change that we did make. And we, continue to see huge increases in the way that customers are using multi-factor authentication due to the rise of phishing attacks that have been prevalent since the rise of COVID. We've seen, I think, in March alone, there was like a 7-time increase in phishing attacks and cybercrime. So this is something that I'm sure CISOs are very eager to solve, and so we're eager to help them solve that as well.
So Amy, same question. Anything about pandemic, Black Lives Matter, or the election that's impacted your guys' product plans?
So by far, it was the pandemic that had the biggest impact on us. And a lot of that is the same thing Grace mentioned, is just this. Companies had plans to become more digital. They had lots of digital transformation roadmaps, but all of a sudden, I think 5 years worth of work got done in 5 months because they had no choice. And so we were fortunate because we had been investing ahead of our customers in terms of cloud collaboration. So that paid off really for everyone. And the other thing that helped Autodesk, which I think is important, is our business model. So we used to be a upfront perpetual license software where you paid for this license in advance, and maybe you paid a little bit of maintenance. And now we're fully a subscription company. So a subscription business model is also far more resilient for both the customers and for us, because they could go anywhere, home, office, home the next day, log in and be able to do everything that they needed to do. Whereas the older models of on-prem software and legacy licensing models don't really support that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so this is a question for all of you. What words of advice would you give to PMs relative to creating resilient products or being resilient under the current circumstances? So Vicky, let's start with you.
I would say keeping the customer at the center of every decision and everything that they do. It is so much easier to build a product that customers love and a business that is resilient when the value that the customer gets and the goal that the customer has is directly aligned with the value and the goals that you have as a product lead or as a business lead.
Great. Okay, Grace?
Yeah, I would say to add to that, at Okta, we focus on building very flexible solutions that can address a broad set of use cases, because as we're seeing here, things change really quickly, and we want to make sure that our investments can address many different types of use cases. So our I guess guidance from a product management perspective is build for something that's extensible and flexible. And not only will that help build a better product that can kind of future-proof the business or the business area that you're in, but also from a product management perspective, as you develop, I think you'll also develop very transferable skills as you're actually building on something that can, possibly be extended or applied to many different use cases.
Great. Amy?
So I agree with everything that's been said so far. And I'd also add that these days, you can really leverage data and analytics to truly understand your customers' behaviors. Are things cyclical? What are the capabilities they're using the most? Are certain things in your product impacted by economic trends? There's just such a wealth of ability to slice and dice the data by persona, by industry. And the more you understand the customers, then you can build a solution that really resonates directly for them. And those tools weren't necessarily available, 10, 20 years ago, but today they're constantly evolving. You just can't keep up with what's out there in the market.
Okay, so now we're going to get a little bit more personal. So what has been the biggest challenge for you in the area of resilience this year? And what have you done to help yourself and help your teams through this? So Grace, would you take that for us?
Yeah, so let me think about that a bit. I think for sure the biggest challenge has been with this, more from a personal perspective, I think has been the implosion of the fact that there is no longer a divide between work and home. Certainly with remote work, you're working from home. There is really no stop or hard division between when work starts and ends. And quite honestly, that from a personal perspective, that has been super challenging for myself, having, two daughters who are also doing distance learning from home. And to your question of what's the one thing I'm trying to do about it, I think it's trying to establish boundaries. I think, setting up a schedule always helps. I try to stick to it, but certainly, when things get challenging, the schedule goes out the window. But that's something that I think would be super healthy. Setting a schedule, making sure there's enough built-in times to take a break, take a walk, get some exercise. I think it's just how do you reset this balance in the fact that the whole world has shifted, right? Imposing that balance back and order back into this new schedule, I think is super important. Something that I still need to work on, to be honest.
Okay, Amy, you want to share?
Sure. That was the first thing that came to my mind was finding a new routine. I was accustomed to commuting on BART. That was my sort of time to unwind from work and then come home and be present with the family. So I had to find some new ways to do that. And as the weather has changed, I've done that in different ways. But I think for everyone, having some rituals that sort of, signify the end of your day, the end of your work day maybe, and the beginning of your next part of your day, but also the checking out and going for a walk and looking at something that's not just a screen that's 8 inches in front of you has also been super helpful. And then what I try to do with my organization is, again, role model some of that as I share with them what I'm doing. I try to be very, I try not to be sending them emails on nights and weekends because I know that they're just going to respond. And so trying to really live that. And then we've also, again, with the empathy, tried to help people know, we know everyone is in a different situation, whether you're, home alone in a 600 square foot apartment in San Francisco and you couldn't go outside because of the smoke versus, homeschooling someone or worried about other family members. So I think cutting people some slack and really taking the time, even on Zoom, to just say like, hi, how are you doing? As opposed to jumping into the meeting the second, everyone is there. All good things to do in person that we did naturally, but have to make an effort to do it on Zoom.
Absolutely. Okay, Vicky, can you take us home on this one?
Yeah, I agree with everything that has been said. For me as well, the toughest part was balancing family life and professional life. I have 2 young sons, so they were not going to school as everybody else, last year. So being a teacher, not great for me. In addition to being an employee and the other roles that we have, all of us. So that has been challenging. In terms of how managing that, is I started, you said earlier, cutting the team some slack. I started cutting myself some slack. I mean, like, these are the things that I can do, and these are the things that I cannot do, and it's okay if some of the things that won't be done. And being more open about asking for help. With my team, with my husband, with everybody, like trying to balance out and starting with good intentions, knowing that everybody's doing the best that they can do. Being open, sharing, and setting expectations on what can be done. I feel that helped me a lot.
Yeah, and that's great. Thank you for sharing. I'm sure the audience will appreciate that we're all kind of in the same place in the current circumstances, right? Whether it's trying to create a more resilient business or a resilient self. We're in a challenging period of time, and I'm sure the audience can relate to your guys' statements. So thank you guys. That's actually all the questions I have for today. You've been amazing, and I look forward to hopefully meeting you guys in person at our next Women in Product conference.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.